5 months after Dan Cooper jumped out of a plane and vanished forever, someone did it again. Not something similar, not inspired by it. The exact same thing. Same aircraft type, same method, same rear door, same demands, same disappearance into the sky. And this time, the FBI caught him 4 days later. His name was Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. He was 29 years old. He was a Sunday school teacher. He was a Vietnam veteran with expert parachute training. He was a criminal justice student at Brigham Young University. And for a period of time, a significant number of FBI investigators believed he was Dan Cooper. On April 7th, 1972, McCoy boarded a United Airlines flight in Salt Lake City. He passed a note to a flight attendant. The note said he had a bomb. He showed her the briefcase. He made his demands clearly. $500,000 in cash and parachutes. The plane landed in Denver. The money and parachutes were delivered. The passengers were released. And then McCoy ordered the pilot south and jumped out of the rear door somewhere over Utah. Unlike Cooper, his parachute opened. Unlike Cooper, he landed safely in a field. Unlike Cooper, he walked to a waiting car and drove home to his wife and children in a suburb of Salt Lake City. 4 days later, the FBI knocked on his door. Inside the house, they found parachute components. They found fragments of paper consistent with the handwritten demand notes. They arrested him. He was convicted and sentenced to 45 years in federal prison. And then the FBI started looking more carefully at what they had. Because when you line up the two cases side by side, the similarities do not feel like coincidence. Both hijackers chose a Boeing 727 specifically. In 1971, the 727 was one of the only commercial aircraft with rear air stairs that could be operated during flight. This was not common knowledge. It was a mechanical detail known to pilots, mechanics, and people with specific aviation training. McCoy had that training. Both hijackers asked for cash in specific denominations. Both exited through the rear door. Both used parachutes with military-style technique. Both were described by crew as calm, polite, and in complete control throughout. The FBI agent who led the McCoy investigation was a man named Russell Calamé. He spent years building the case that McCoy and Cooper were the same person. He eventually wrote a book about it. His argument was straightforward. The operational knowledge required to execute both hijackings was rare, specific, and consistent. McCoy had every piece of it. The timing, 5 months between the two events, was consistent with a man who got away with it once, needed money again, and repeated the method he knew worked. The FBI officially rejected this theory. Their stated reason was physical description. Witnesses on the Cooper flight described a man in his mid-40s with olive skin, a receding hairline, and dark wraparound sunglasses. McCoy in 1972 was 29, athletic, with full dark hair and no sunglasses. The age gap alone, the FBI concluded, was enough to rule him out. But Calamé and others pointed out the problems with this reasoning. Witness descriptions of a man seen briefly in a pressurized cabin in 1971 are not forensic evidence. They are impressions. The sunglasses that Cooper wore would have altered the perception of his age and face substantially, and the specific technical knowledge McCoy demonstrated, particularly around the 727 air stair mechanism, was so rare that the FBI never satisfactorily explained where else he could have acquired it. The debate never resolved, because in 1974, McCoy escaped from federal prison. He cut through a fence and disappeared into the night. The FBI found him 6 months later in a suburb of Virginia. On the night of November 9th, 1974, FBI agents surrounded the house. McCoy was killed in the confrontation. With his death went any possibility of confession, of new evidence, of an answer. The case against him could never be completed. The case against him could never be fully closed. What remains is a sequence of facts that sit in a particular arrangement and refuse to resolve into certainty. A man with expert parachute training and specific 727 knowledge executed a near-identical hijacking 5 months after D.B. Cooper. He was caught, convicted, escaped, and died before anyone could ask him the right questions. The FBI says he was not Cooper. One of their own agents spent years of his career arguing that he was. The physical description does not match. The operational profile matches almost completely. And somewhere in the evidence of both cases, $180,000 of D.B. Cooper's ransom money still has not been found. Not in any account linked to McCoy. Not in any account linked to anyone. The money existed. It went somewhere. It has never surfaced. This case does not end here. Next week, we are going to look at a man who walked into a bar in the 1990s and told the person sitting next to him exactly how D.B. Cooper had planned the hijacking.